So my name is Urszula Sobek, I'm from Funding Box, and today, together with my colleagues Veronika and Anna, we will provide you some insights to the second open call in Elise, which will be closed in 1 week from now. And today we would like to focus on answering the most common questions that we receive to our help desk or during our conversation. And we hope that this will give you some lights when you will be filling your application. All right, so first, a short introduction about the open call. If you would like to dive more into the open call itself and the rules, requirements, and so on, you can visit our webpage, and you can also watch our first webinars where we focus more on the introduction to the call and requirements of the open call. Then we'll focus on most commonly asked questions, and we try to provide you some kind of guidelines and tips how to apply. At the end, you will have time to ask your question through the chat. So in brief, in this open call, we would like to select up to 16 SME, including, of course, startup, and provide them financial support, 60,000 euro per project, per company. And also company can benefit through visibility from through Elise channels, social media, and dissemination events. So selected startup will enter 6-month support period, and during this support period, they can work on the application on the product and get up to 60,000 euro as a lump sum to cover the cost of development of the solution. Who can apply? So all type of SMEs from different European countries are welcome to apply. Remember that you should be registered as legal entity at the moment of applying, and your registration country should be one of member states of European Union, overseas countries and territories, associated countries to Horizon 2020, and United Kingdom. And please note that if you already received support from Elise's first open call, you are not eligible to receive funding under this second open call. Also, Elise partners, affiliated organization, employees also are not eligible to receive funding from Elise. What is important when drafting your proposal is to focus on one of the area that we defined. So there's 16 focus area of Elise that we would like you to propose the project. As you can see, areas are quite broad, so from deep learning through human-centric machine learning, health to data mining. So I hope that you will be able to find your place here. And if not, you can still propose your solution in the open call, providing information proving that your project will have significant impact on European society or economy as well. What would be the ideal project? As I mentioned, project submitted by SME that fits into one of focus area and use machine learning or AI technology. Preferable initial TRL should be 6 or 7, but also lower TRL level will be accepted as long as in the proposal you provide information that you will be able to reach the expected TRL level during the 6 months period of project implementation. And also we are looking for projects that will be supported by scientific advisors. So scientific advisor is researchers with PhD that agree to provide you some kind of support and advices during the project implementation. And now we are moving to the core of our webinar, and let's check the most commonly asked questions, and I will try to answer them. So first, a very common question is, do I need a scientific advisor to be selected for funding? So yes, it's mandatory to have scientific advisor to be selected for funding. We strongly encourage you to have your advisor at the moment of applying, but it's not mandatory. Of course, it's important for external evaluators to during evaluation of your proposal. So we were going to check your advisor, but from formal perspective, you need to have a scientific advisor before the jury day. So you will have extra 2 months before the jury day from the moment of submitting your application to find advisor if you haven't do it yet. So please take into account that this is mandatory step to be selected for funding, but you don't need to have advisor at the moment of applying. However, we strongly encourage you to have advisor as soon as possible to increase your chances to be selected. Also, we highly recommend you to have scientific advisor from Elise community, but it's not mandatory. You can have advisor from different organizations, from different institutions, not only from Elise. And regarding scientific advisor, how to prove that you have scientific advisor, in the application form there is a space where you can upload a letter of support or some kind of scientific advisor statement that confirm that you already have a scientific advisor. And we receive a lot of questions about how about the form or template for this letter of support or statement. So here there's no template. You can do it in the way it's most suitable and convenient for you and for your advisor. It could be a form of short email where scientific advisor does explain that and why she would like to support you. Very short, 1 paragraph, it will be enough. Or it can be scanned of a document, it can be signed by hand, or it can scan. So any type of document that confirm that you have a person assigned will be okay at this stage. So you don't need to go for any fancy or formal document. It can be also really simple email attached here. Another question related to scientific advisor is, can I have a scientific advisor outside the Elise community, for example, based in United States? So we advise you to have a scientific advisor from Elise community, but it's not mandatory. And you can also have scientific advisor outside the Europe, but you should have in mind that your overall proposal should have European dimension. It means that should bring some kind of value and benefits to European society and economy. And if you have your scientific advisor, for example, based in US, maybe it will be more difficult to prove that your product still has European roots and is based in Europe and for sure provide some benefits to European society and economy. And of course, remember that your advisor should have PhD in domain related to your project, and these are requirements that we will follow. Another question related to scientific advisor is the expertise of scientific advisors. So do I need a scientific advisor with expertise in AI machine learning, or rather in the project domain, for example, in health? So here, scientific advisor should be a researcher who agreed to advise you in developing the AI application services. So should have experience and knowledge in AI and machine learning first. Also, it's good if advisor has some background related to your project execution. And you should take into account that, of course, scientific advisor should have experience in machine learning and AI. This is a must. And also, the experience should resonate with the project domain. And here we have an example, for example, in case of project that covers image processing in medical diagnosis, you should have rather advisor with expertise in image processing than in medicine. So please keep in mind this. But first, machine learning and machine learning technique should be expertise domain of your scientific advisor. And apart from this, of course, she can have experience in project target market or specific domains. You can also have more than one scientific advisor if you find it will be necessary or important to have, for example, in this case, experts in machine learning and also some experts in medicine. You are free to do so. Can I apply to a second open call if I already participated in the first open call? This is also some kind of question that we receive quite often. So yes, you can if you were not selected for funding, and no, if you were selected and if you receive support from Elise under first open call, then you are not eligible to receive funding during the second open call. How many applications you can submit? So you can submit only one proposal. So there's no point to preparing several proposals. Only one proposal will be evaluated. And if we detected that more proposal will be submitted or was submitted by the same organization, same applicants, then only the last edited proposal will be evaluated. How you can use the grant that you will receive from Elise. So this is a question about the budget and the costs that can be covered by the grant. So here, all type of rules related to FSTP, so financial support to third parties, apply. Costs are eligible as long as they correspond with the execution of the project. If there is some kind of connection between the cost and what you are doing in the project. And cost must occur during the support program period. So starting from the day of signing sub-grant agreement, or from the date included in the sub-grant agreement until the date mentioned sub-grant agreement, you will be able to have costs related to Elise project execution. And what type of cost can be covered? So similar type of cost, similar categories as for all Horizon 2020 projects. So personal cost, so involvement of your employees on the Elise project implementation execution. Then purchase of goods or services, so things that are necessary for you to develop your project, like infrastructure, license, maybe some services, developer services, some HPC resources, so all type of costs related to your project. Then also you can cover cost of travels if you will need to travel along the project for the purpose of the project, and also subcontracting if you would like to subcontract some part of the job. Regarding subcontracting, please bear in mind that crucial part of a project, crucial development shouldn't be subcontracting. So you can go for subcontractor, of course, but they could cover part of the cost, not important, significant part of your budget. And regarding the budget, at the beginning of let's say support period, you will be asked to provide very general cost breakdowns, so information about what type of cost category will be covered in general. So we will not ask you to provide us, for example, the timesheet or invoices or do some kind of procurement. No, we just ask you for overall estimation that prove that 60,000 euro will be spent on Elise. Regarding the payment timelines, you should also be aware of this, how it will be done, to plan properly yourself and your financial condition. So there will be 2 installments. First will be a small one paid after you sign a sub-grant agreement, and when the work plan will be on place, you will know what you will be doing, and all formal requirements will be fulfilled. So when the first installment will be ready to pay, and the final one, 47,000 euro, will be paid at the end of the project after validation, approving of your final report. You will have time after 6-month period, 1 month, to prepare your reporting documents to prove that the work was done, or to describe your results, maybe do some kind of demo, provide some kind of materials that prove and showcase results of the project. And after approving this by our consortium body, Open Call Selection Committee, you will be able to receive the final payments. What are the most common mistakes made by applicants? Please be aware that there are several mistakes that are very repetitive, and we observe them in different calls, also in the first Elise open call as well. So to avoid them, please make sure that part of the application form called informed consent form are filled properly. Here we are asking a lot of questions that you can answer yes or no, or details. So please check it carefully and try to provide the right answer. Because we observe several small mistakes, whether you're doing because you are in a rush or you just going quickly through this part, and then some of the questions, some of the answer are ground for rejection. So please check twice this form if you marked the right answer under this section in the application form. Then we have also eligibility mistakes, like selected country selected by applicants is not eligible. You can find the list of eligible country in the guide for applicants, so please check it. If you still have doubts, you can also reach out to us and check if the country of registration of your organization is okay. So also be aware that we will take into account the legal registration address, so the place where you are registered, not where you have office. So for example, if you are registered in United States and have office in Berlin, then this is not a right or not a good setup for you. You should be registered in one of European countries, member states, overseas countries, territories of member states, or countries outside to Horizon 2020. Also, common mistakes is to selecting not the right type of organization in the first section of the application form. Please be aware, keep in mind that only SME is a type of organization that is eligible to be founded under Elise Open Call. If you select other type like NGO, research organization, foundation, or other, then this means that you are not eligible. So please be aware of this and check it carefully. And we also have another group of mistakes and shortcomings that impact evaluation made by external experts. So and it refers to the answer provided as kind of description paragraph in the open answer question. So very common mistakes, and description is too general. So there is not a lot of details there, and not a lot of evidence that can prove that what you promised and what you would like to do with a project is feasible. So please focus on this feasibility aspect when you're drafting your proposal. Also, what is important for experts during evaluation, it's how you describe your business model. So please pay attention to this, because we observe very often that the business model is weak or there's not a lot of details, how you would like to make money on the project. And this is important aspects, that this project should at the end bring some value for you. And also sometimes the idea is good, description is very nice, but you are lacking resources to execute the project, or there's not a lot of description about your team. So we don't know who will be implementing the project. We are not sure if the people in your organization are able to make this project happen. So please also be careful in describing the resources. And if, for example, you are lacking some infrastructure or some equipment, you can include in the description that you are going to purchase this or that using the grant, so that all type of resources needed to implement the project properly will be on place during the project execution. Also, I would like to make sure that you are aware about pre-scoring questions. So this is very important part of application process, evaluation process. And since we are expecting a lot of proposal, we will probably launch the pre-scoring. So what are the pre-scoring questions and how you can find them in the application form? So pre-scoring question will help us to do the first scoring and filter the best application from the number of eligible applications that will be submitted. And we have 7 questions, and you can get in total 100 points if you receive maximum scores for them. You will find the list of pre-scoring questions in the guide for applicants, and also you will find them in the application form. Each question addresses one of the pre-scoring criteria listed in the guide for applicants. And as you can see here on the example on the screen, the name of the criteria and the beginning of a question matches. So you should be able to easily identify this type of question in the application form. Please also be aware that this scoring will be done automatically based on your answer provided for those 7 questions. So we will not review it compared to the description. We will just check what the type of answer was selected, and to each type of answer there's a certain amount of points assigned. So you can see example here. So for example, for criteria team skills, you will find a respective question in the application form. Team skills, please indicate specific experience among your team related to AI and machine learning. And you will find here also 5 different answers, and you can select only one. And selecting by one answer, you will be assigned points at the end after the pre-scoring will be applied. And to remind you, this is a list of pre-scoring questions. So dedication to the project, team skills, proved experience in AI and machine learning, proved experience in the target market, current progress of traction, scalability of your solution, and market opportunity for your project. So please be aware when filling the application that this simple question could make a difference in the selection process. And then something extraordinary, so ethical assessment, things that we would like to also include during a selection process, not later on, but at the early start. And is it possible to fail ethical assessment? So no, it's not possible. So please be aware that there is no good or bad answer for ethical assessment. You should just provide information about your solution, your project, and then you will receive some kind of guidelines how you can deliver or implement your project following some kind of guidelines to be sure that you are in line with different ethical aspects, especially trustworthy AI or other things related to machine learning and AI project execution. How it will be implemented. So 1 month after the deadline, before 16th of March, you will be asked to fill in the self-assessment form, and you will receive personal link after the open call deadline from Sidot. Sidot is one of the partners in Elise project responsible for performing ethical assessment. So please expect an email, and you will be asked to fill in very short self-assessment form and provide general information about the project execution in terms of ethics. And then to pass external evaluation and enter consensus meeting and be invited to jury day, you should have this step closed. So you should have your ethical self-assessment done. This is some kind of requirement. So you cannot be selected for further stage without completing the self-assessment form. And if you will be invited to a jury day, during the preparation stage for the jury day, you will be invited to complete full ethic assessment, ethic evaluation with support from Sidot. So you will receive guidelines, and you will be able to chat and meet ethic experts who will guide you through the process and explain you what can be done, how you can address ethical issue, if any. And this is a mandatory step to complete before the jury day. And this means that if you will be selected for funding, you will start with ethical check completed. So you don't need to wait, and you don't need to wait for the first payment to complete this stage. And we hope that this will speed up the process, and we implemented it based on the feedback from the first support program execution. And now I would like to give you some tips how to prepare a good proposal. So if you're applying, please check several things and make sure that you are SME, that you have scientific advisor ready to support you. Please also make sure that your project has European dimension. Remember also about the deadline is 16 February at 1 o'clock. So please keep in mind that this is in Central Europe time, and our platform will close automatically at this time, and there will be no possibility to submit your application after deadline. Check focus area and try to prove in the application that your project fit one of the area. Submit only one proposal, make sure that you complete all the mandatory section and that your proposal is in English. Remember also about conflict of interest. So check if you have any direct or indirect relation with any of Elise member. And if so, you can describe it in the application. But if you feel that relations are closed, then probably you have conflict of interest and there's no point in applying. Also, remember about your healthy situation. So we won't accept entities that are under liquidation or are in difficulties. So please make sure that you are in a good financial condition before applying. And also make sure that you have intellectual property rights to the work or result or license you are going to use during the project execution, or maybe this license are free to use. I also encourage you to check again our evaluation criteria. Most important are the ones evaluated by external experts, excellent impact and implementation. You will find the respective section in the application form. So when, for example, filling the section excellent, make sure, keep in mind that this will be used, description provided within the section will be used by external evaluators to evaluate your excellence. And the same for impact and implementation section. How to apply? So visit Elise's second open call webpage. You can find the link here. Log in, click apply button and start your application, or continue if you already started. So try to fill the application before, of course, the deadline. You can come back to application. You can submit it before the deadline and come back to it later and provide some additional information before the deadline. Remember, 16th February at 1. And the timeline of the process. So deadline is in 1 week from now. Then by 16th of March, you will be asked to perform ethical assessment. And then if you will be lucky, you'll be invited to the jury day. It will be online, so you will have time to prepare, and you should be ready with pitch of your project and answer the question from jurors. And we are planning to organize jury day in mid-May. And for this moment, you should have, or must have, your scientific advisor ready and assigned. It would be nice if scientific advisor can also join the jury day to explain how or why she would like to support a project. If not, you should provide a record of explanation from scientific advisor or some kind of other statement that proves that she is ready to support you. Then in June, we will conduct a legal check of your project. So we'll check your status and check your documents, connection, and so on. And we'll prepare some grant document for you, and you will be ready to start execution in July 2023. And final tips, how to apply. So invest your time to be a good proposal. Don't wait to the very last moment. Submit it in advance. Remember about European dimension of your project. Check again eligibility requirements, your final situation, conflict of interest. Also, I encourage you to check the subgrant agreement template before applying, to be aware of what will be required, what will be your obligation during the project implementation selected. Try to be convinced to provide as many details as possible for evaluators. For example, if you have some evidences, or if you know some facts, please provide them, or include information within your application to be more convincing for evaluators. What's important, find your scientific advisor and get letter of support, or let's say statement. So we are using different names for the same type of document. Remember about your team, so try to find the people that will be able to execute the project properly, remember about gender balance and different skills and competences necessary for the project execution, and try to address at least one of the focus area. So this is it from my side. I guess that there are another questions or one more question in the chat. So Anna, I would like to ask you to help me with a question. And I would
Thank you, Ola. Yes, we have a lot of questions, so I'll move on to the first one. I have approached about 6 advisors from the Elise community, and they all replied say that they don't have time and cannot be involved.
Yeah, so the question is how we can support it. So to be fair to all applicants, we are not providing any matchmaking service, any support. So it's on you to find the advisor. I hope that you will manage to do it before the deadline. If not, you can still have a time by the end, by the midnight before the due date.
Thank you. Does the Elise member need to have a PhD in domain related to the project?
So as I mentioned, you should have a PhD in AI and machine learning first. Your scientific advisor should have a PhD in machine learning or AI first, and then could be related also PhD to the project itself. So as I presented on one of the slides before, you should rather focus on machine learning techniques, domain, on, for example, image processing if it's related to your project, then, for example, in medicine or food processing or something like target market for your project. I hope that I answered correctly and clearly enough.
Thank you. Does a scientific advisor external to Elise account for a lower score during the project evaluation?
No. We encourage you to have advisor from Elise network, of course, but it will not impact the evaluation of external experts.
Thank you. Should the scientific advisor be established in a different country from the one of the applicant?
No, you and your scientific advisor can be based in the same country. So there's no requirements about having scientific advisor from different countries, no.
Thank you. Does the scientific advisor have to be a part of faculty, or can they be a former faculty member working in different company?
So scientific advisors shouldn't have formal relation with SME applicants. So this is a requirement, and scientific advisor can be can work everywhere she needs or can. So there's no requirements that, for example, scientific advisor need to be hired by some university or somewhere else. So this is up to you. Only requirements regarding formalities is that you shouldn't hire your scientific advisor. So it should be free from this type of connection.
Thank you. If I have more than one advisor, will I get more score, or is it the same as if I have one?
Okay, so during the evaluation process, evaluator will take into account your scientific advisor, if you have him, her agreed, and domains of scientific advisor, if it fits to the project, and it can be some kind of helpful for you. And of course, having more than one advisor that cover different aspects of your project will be important and can increase overall scoring. Please note that in this open call, we are not assigning additional score for having scientific advisor. We will take, or evaluator will take into account having advisor during overall evaluation of the proposal. So yes, it's good to have advisor, and if you feel necessary, having more than one will be for sure better than having one.
Thank you. What is the role of the scientific advisor in the project? How much involvement, time spent on the project is expected?
Okay, so role of advisor is strictly advisory. So do not expect the scientific advisor will be working with you on a project or do some kind of development. So the role is to make some kind of connection or bridge between you and machine learning society, or between SME world and research world. So they can suggest some kind of solution or suggest some kind of techniques that can be used or guide you a bit, but will not do any implementation or development work. So we expect that it will be like 1, 2, maybe 3 meetings during the project execution at the beginning. And if you will need some kind of advice during the project, maybe some interaction will be suggested or needed. And at the end, they will be asked to do some kind of assessment of your work, of a project result, but very short, providing very short statements. So it shouldn't be very time consuming for advisor.
Thank you. What is expected to achieve in the 6 months of the project?
Okay, so we are expecting that you build or develop AI-based machine learning application that address one of the area. And it depends on what you would like to do with the project and what is your starting tier level. So we are aware that 6 months is not a lot of time for doing full development, but we expect that you progress, for example, from tier 6 or 7 to tier 8, for example. So it depends on the project, but we would like to see some kind of technical progress and technical development.
Thank you. What kind of KPIs and how many do you expect in an application?
So in the work plan section, you are expected to provide your timeline or your task description, what you like to do during the project, and suggest KPIs that proved what you are going to achieve. And based on this, we will check your progress, of course, at the end of the project. Type of KPIs could be, for example, technical one, like perform a demonstration somewhere, or do a pilot, or you can also suggest some kind of technical requirements or technical features that you are going to reach during the project implementation. So it's up to you, and it can be very specific and depends on the project implementation. But probably the best way to go will be to suggest some kind of technical KPIs, numbers, like something that will be tangible and easy to check and prove.
Thank you. How many companies will be awarded?
We will select 16 SMEs.
Thank you. Is there more information about TRL?
Yes, so in the guide for applicants, also in the frequently asked question, you will find a detailed description of what is TRL level, and you will also find the link to the official definition that we are using for this open call.
Thank you. We have a different EU grant, Bonds Apps. Are we still eligible for Elise?
You are asking about a grant, different grants?
They received from Bonds Apps, it seems.
Okay. Yes, you are still eligible because there's no, let's say, connection, and there's no limits between Elise and Bonds Apps, for example. What is important is to make sure that what you are doing in Bonds Apps, it's different from what you propose to do in Elise. So you should have a different project there. And this will be it. Remember about double funding, non-double funding rules.
Thank you. Is there a place to attach letters of support for market stakeholders?
No, only attachment that you are allowed to provide is the letter of support from scientific advisor. But you can keep this document for later. For example, for Tuesday, you will be able then to showcase any type of documents you have, letter of support from for example, end users or from your target market. If you will have, you can also mention it in the application form that you have letter of support or some other documents. But there is no place to attach it to the application form.
Thank you. Can the CV of the team be available in a Google Drive link? Do you expect one link per CV, or can all of them be put together in a single link?
Okay, so we are expecting that you provide a link. It will be the easiest way will be to provide a link to the LinkedIn profile of the team members. But if, for example, your team members has a profile, another portal, another forum available for everybody, public, this also could be okay.
Thank you. Can data collection be a small part of the project?
Data collection for development, yes. You can dedicate some part of time to build the data base that will be used for further development. But this should be part of a project, not the whole goal of a project.
Thank you. Can we conduct a small-scale clinical trial as part of the project costs?
If this is connected with machine learning technique, machine learning application, if this will be something that you will use to test your solution, or that you really need to do it for the goal of the project, then yes.
Thank you. Does person stated as a challenge owner has to be the part of the team dedicated to the project?
No. When describing your team, please focus on the development side, or first make sure that you have people with right skills that can do the development, and then people with experience in market development, or placing on the market of product, or marketing, or some other stuff. But the most important part is having people that will be able to develop a project.
Thank you. Dedication to the project. What is the highest rated option? More than 2 developers, AI specialists, dedicated full-time?
I need to check. The scoring. I don't have it at the front of my eyes. So please come back to us through help desk.
Thank you. Is the field that the project applies to relevant? In our case, it's going to be industry related.
Well, yes, we are looking for projects that we will be able to promote to the market, so we can benefit as some kind of solution ready for market. So industry focus, yes, it's a good option.
Thank you. How negative score-wise is the selection of an advisor outside the community, but from the EU?
No, because there's no negative score for it. If your advisor has a good skills, right background, this is okay still.
Thank you. May I ask you for your definitions for the revenue and turnover section, statistical information? We would like to give the most correct answer, but we are not sure that we understand the definitions correctly.
Okay, so yes, this is a tricky one. So we can answer to this question via email, because some small details from financial perspective will be necessary for this. So if you can, please send us an email and we will answer it this way. So Veronica, yes, we'll take care of this.
Thank you. It says scientific advisor cannot have a formal link with the SME. With the university of our researcher, we submitted an EU proposal from last year. The project is under evaluation still. Is it considered as a formal link?
No. If there's no flow of money or benefits, this is okay at this stage. If you are in the project execution, then that could be a problem. But if you submitted the application and you're still waiting for the results of application, of being selected or not, then, and if you don't have any consortium agreement with the scientific advisor, this is okay. If you have consortium agreement with scientific advisor, then this could be tricky, but since the project is still in the evaluation process, I think that there is no problem with both type of connection.
Thank you. Is it okay if you previously, before funding the startup, co-authored papers with the advisor?
I don't know if I remember, if I understand it correctly. So it means that you were advised by this advisor, but no, Veronica, do you have?
Yeah, I think it's more of a research background that people published some kind of a paper together. So they were kind of co-workers in a writing a publication together. I think that's okay.
Yeah, this is okay. There's no like formal collection because there's no flow of money from one person to another, and this can be okay.
Thank you. Does the country of the advisor must be in the EU? Can she be Turkey-based?
Okay, yes, Turkey is one of the country eligible for funding, so this is completely fine. And of course, you can have an advisor from different countries, also outside of Europe, also from not eligible country. But when drafting the proposal, please remember that you should have strong European dimension and you should prove it.
Thank you. What does European dimension mean exactly? Make a list of points to comply with. Thanks.
Okay, so this is something, that European Commission giving money to us to support European SME to be more competitive towards Chinese or Europe or United States companies. So this means that the first focus of use of the money should benefit European Union, society, economy as a whole. So first target group should be, for example, European citizens or company based in Europe. Of course, it's good that your project will have a global dimension, should also benefit to other countries outside of Europe, but first focus should be European market. So adjusting to European needs, to European regulation and so on. This, for example, approach to ethical issues that are different in different countries. So all this stuff and democratic problems, society problems that are important for Europe now, not for other part of the globe. I hope it's helpful.
Thank you. Do you need a proposal to be signed off by the legal representative of the company? Or would an employee signature work as well?
It can be submitted by any representative of company, by let's say contact person. But please be aware that if you appoint somebody to be a contact person, so you provide the link and email address in the application, this will be the contact point. So if we will invite you, for example, for the jury day, we will send information communication to that particular person. So be aware that this person is trustful and will be with you, with your organization for a long time. It's very important. Sometimes it happens that there's inconsistency between contact person and the person who is in charge of a proposal. And at the end of the process, sub-grant agreement need to be signed by legal representative. But at the moment of applying, it can be done by anybody who, of course, agreed this with a legal representative. But we don't need to have any formal proof of this.
Thank you. Do you have a template for the advisor support letter? If not, can you recommend a short one?
You can, as I mentioned, you can just have like one paragraph statement from advisor, but I'm advisor, expertise in blah, 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 this domain, and I would like to support this project because I feel that this meets my research goals and I have experience in this field, and something very, very easy and simple would be enough at this stage.
Thank you. Can you give a bit more information about soundness of the approach and credibility? Question on the application form. It says, provide concrete and verifiable arguments and or evidence that demonstrate the soundness of your approach and proposed methodology. You mean our AI approach? There is no previous questions about our methodology approach. Is there any chance to add a figure to make it clear?
Okay, so there's no chance to add any figures, any graphs. I'm sorry, only text is possible. But you're right, here we are asking about providing information about your methodology. So how you are going to develop your project, how you are going to implement, what will be your methodology. So all this stuff, and what is your approach to solving the challenge or to fitting the focus area. So all this stuff related to be execution and how we are going to organize this process.
Thank you. Does the work plan refer to the entire company or only to the project in the period of funding?
Only to the project. This is only to the project, and this should you should focus very only in the project execution.
Thank you. Concerning the results of the project, what points can we include in the results? For example, do marketing and explanation videos also count as a result?
Yeah, so different type of results can be. It depends on the project, but something that is tangible, that can be stored and used later. For example, it can be algorithm, it can be demonstration of your project, it can be technical documentation of your solution. It can be video showcasing how, for example, your system is working. So any type of documents, proof of something. So it depends on the project nature itself, but there's different type of possibility to showcase.
Thank you. Can we subcontract part of the grant to the advisor for support during the project?
You can subcontract some part of the grant, but not to your advisor. Advisor should work or should support you without any financial support from your side. So you can support that work and work and delivered by people outside your company, but not by advisor during the project lifetime.
Thank you. We need to get training data for our model, motion capture data, rent a studio, record data. Is that eligible as a project cost for goods and services?
Yes, if this is connected with a project and there is a reason behind, yes, this is completely fine.
Thank you. I have a question about the use of the grant and implementation of the project. Would it be possible that part of the funds from the Elise call, 60K, be used to pay the salary of a PhD student, AI expert, linked to the project through an agreement with the university that gives us a scientific advice?
Okay, so you will receive money, and part of the grant can be paid to staff involved in the project implementation. And we will not going to check your timesheet. We are not going to check who exactly worked on the project. You should provide information and follow them. And you can be checked by some tax office in your country. But we are not going to check it. So if there's a connection and you have people from university involved in your project execution and you would like to pay them, this is okay. Only remember to not pay to your scientific advisor, but you can pay other people. It can be PhD students or any other people in a different form. You can do it through personal cost, or also as subcontracting or other as purchasing some goods or services if needed.
Thank you. The question about resources was not clear to me. Could you explain further whether this relates to the team members or whether the proposed AI machine learning solution is feasible in practice?
So in resources, there's a question about teams. So we ask you to provide a description about your team members, and there you can provide as much information as you wish about your team's background. Also, we can mention the publication or research achievements. And under resources, we are asking more about infrastructure. For example, if you are going to use some kind of HPC resources, please include descriptions there. If you have it already, you can mention that you are going to use this or that. If you are going to purchase it during the project, also mention this. So we need to have a clear vision what will be done, and if you have all things on place, could be planned for purchasing during the project or already available for your company. So you can mention also here the license, IT infrastructure, or some IP rights to some kind of part of the project. You can also mention the data set that you would like to have or you have. So all the stuff that will be necessary for a project implementation from technical perspective.
Thank you. If we are not able to agree or find a scientific advisor until the deadline of the application, what should we do with the attachment field? Is this a reason for negative score?
So we will take into consideration overall approach, and this will not mean that you will be excluded from the application from the prior evaluation stages, but you will need to find your advisor before mid-May, before the jury day, because this is a mandatory step to enter the jury day if selected. But at this stage, yes, this will impact a bit the scores from external evaluators. Yes, but you can still be selected, and it's not mean that you will be excluded because you don't have advisor at the moment of applying.
Thank you. Is it necessary to publish the research or open source the development conducted during the program?
No, it's not mandatory to publish, to make the results available for everyone, but you will be invited to present your project and your results during event. It will be physical or online event, it will be said later, but you'll be able to showcase what you have done during the project. It's not mean that you should share it with everybody, no, but you should be aware that it needs to be presented somewhere, and you need to, because you are using public money, then you need to prove what you did and provide information about this. Be also aware that you and only you are the owner of the results of the work done under the project. However, you can be asked by consortium members of Elise, of European Commission bodies to report or to provide some information or details just for reporting, not for commercial purpose. So be aware, all this information are included in sub-grant agreement template on our open call webpage.
Thank you, Ula. I think we have a few more questions, but we are out of time.
Yes, so last one question, if you have one more, and we will close the session.
Okay. We are currently in a contracted project with my advisor, which running out in April and has nothing to do with Elise in the divorce. After April, the advisor will support us out of pure interest and without any contractual obligations. Does the running out of contract block our application?
Yeah, well, this at the moment of applying, you still have a valid contract. So this means that you shouldn't apply, you shouldn't invite this evaluator, this advisor to support your proposal at this stage. So later on, you can switch another evaluator to that one, but I'm afraid that this is not the best fit and the best solution.
Yes, maybe ask a colleague of this evaluator and see if they have, because, you know, there's networks. So usually if you ask a colleague, they're usually quite open to like supporting other people's projects. So I would do that.
Good suggestion. Thank you so much, Veronica. And if you still have a question, you can reach to us via our help desk, or you can also visit our spaces and publish the question there. We also check it and try to answer online. So thank you so much. The materials will be available on our open call webpage, and you will be able to check it again before applying. So we wish you a good luck with your application, and have a nice rest of the day. Thank you for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Bye.